Hi everyone, thanks so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Chiruta, for those that don't know me. I'm a certified professional coach and licensed massage therapist here in Longmont, Colorado. Today, because of your comments, we are going to do an entire back routine. I'm going to show you some things to definitely do and some things not to do, and I'm going to show you how to do that without stressing yourself in the process, whether you're working on some 250-pound bodybuilder or a 100-pound person soaking wet. I've got you covered, so stay tuned if you want some extra tips and extra techniques on how to use your body well to do the entire back without fatigue or injury. We are going to work on the whole back. Now, lots you can do. One of the ways I work always is that I put my knee to the table. So when you're doing any kind of deep tissue massage, you want your knee to the table so that you can use your body like a lever. See? My body is just one unit, and I'm really pushing my knee, I'm hugging my knee into the table. So you'll prevent yourself from massaging like a crab if you put your knee in the table for stability and then your back leg is plantar flexing. So your back leg is plantar flexing, okay? So there's obviously your bony landmarks here. You've got your spine, bony landmarks, you've got your 12th rib area here. So you've got your long erector spinae here, and then you have about 7 layers of muscle in this, like, C7, T3 area. So let's just do an anatomy review, okay? So the first layer is your upper trap. You peel that away, you've got your rhomboids, you've got your splenius cervicis, splenius capitis right here. You peel those layers away. Before multifidi is the erector semispinalis. So you peel that away, you've got multifidi, you peel that away, and you've got rotatory. So as you can see, lots of layers of muscles through here. And remember, the number one reason people experience pain here is because their shoulders are rolled forward. So imagine a rubber band that's taut, and then you're pulling on it more. That's what's happening here. So the reason why this area is sore is because it's overstretched. It's not because it's actually a massive area that needs to be worked. There's adhesions here, but there's adhesions because these muscles are overstretched and asked to do a lot of work. That's really what's going on here. And so one move that novices do, and I hate it, is this. Because let's just analyze this, okay? So I'm getting in there. Oh, I found an adhesion underneath your scapula. I found an adhesion. Look at that. Look at that. I'm doing such great work. Well, you're not actually. And here's the reason why. Most Westerners are rolled forward. So their scapula is already rolled forward. And what you're doing is you're taking a rolled forward situation and you're taking these overstretched muscles that are already overstretched and you're making them worse. You're actually moving that scapula more forward. The reason why it feels good is because you release endorphins. But once those endorphins wake up or wear off, you could be making the problem worse. So every time I do therapeutic work, I always start with fascia work because everything is related to that connective tissue from a musculoskeletal standpoint. And if you're not working the fascia, then you're only doing half your job. And once you use oil, once you bust out that lotion, you don't have access to fascia in the same way. You can't access the deeper fascia. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm stretching the tissue. So there's no oil. I'm stretching the tissue. And then once I get it all the way stretched, then I move. And the way that I accomplish this, remember my knee is cinched into the table. and I just use my feet as a lever here. Okay, just using this as a lever. And just look at my body posture, okay? I'm straight through here, body posture. Knee is tucked into the table, and I am just plantar flexing with my back foot. Now, the reason it doesn't feel pinchy is because I'm stretching her skin. Everybody needs this tissue back, and you won't be able to make as deep a structural change if you automatically use oil. Now, notice my arm here. My thumb is up and it's out. I'm not twisted like this. If my thumbs were in, my shoulder would be internally rotated. So they are down and out. And I'm plantar flexing. And so once I understand what's happening structurally, then I might use a little oil. But this area right here, this is dense on everyone, and I'm not going to muscle it. If you look at me, I'm just falling. I'm just grabbing tissue, and then I'm just falling. It's kind of like a push-up. I'm stable, I'm falling, and I could use a crazy more amount of work. I really, really could, or pressure rather. I could use so much more pressure if I wanted to. So if this client was 250 pounds solid muscle, I could use my body. Notice I'm just relaxed. Everything up here is relaxed. I'm looking ahead, and I'm doing all of this. If you've got a wall, you can push up against a wall, and I'm just pulling tissue from this upper back, and I'm pulling it down. I want to create change with her shoulders. There's a condition called upper cross syndrome, and you want to get this upper back, all this tissue pulled down. Really, really helpful for 60% of your clients that are going to work too much at a desk or drive too much. Most Western professionals. So that's what I do. And I'm going to do all of this at first without any oil. And again, just like everything else, I'm pushing away from bony landmarks. See how straight my chest is? I'm just falling. Right now, I'm in her upper trap. I'm in her rhomboids. But instead of trying to push her scapula away laterally, I'm pushing this tissue down. If you really want to get in there and access her shoulder blade, then you can lift up here. You can go ahead and relax. And you can just lift up as you push down. So I'm just pulling this tissue taut, and my pressure is that way. And I'm just going down. Again, I don't do things that hurt me. Another option is all this tissue down. Now, if you want to get in more in that shoulder and you have good rapport with your clients, I wouldn't necessarily try this with a brand new client unless they've received and they really like different kinds of work. I might not do this move with a man unless they're a safe man of one of my women clients, but it's a really nice one. Their shoulder is up, so you don't have to push their scapula lateral, and you can just go up. Now notice this is really close. This is pretty intimate. But I've always found that people need therapeutic work, but they also need safe, non-sexual intimacy. Most Westerners don't get enough touch. If we're lucky enough to have kids, if we're lucky enough to live in a happy marriage or something, a happy relationship, then perhaps we're getting enough touch, but most people are not. And so doing something like this, it just kind of sets you apart from that run-of-the-mill massage. So these are some of the things I do. It's more of a Thai move, but you can easily do it with oil too. So let's say you've done all the connective tissue work you want, and now you really want to fluff them up. So now you can apply your oil. I even apply oil with a nice straight back and a nice lifted chest, because too much looking down accomplishes the same thing as too much looking down at your phone or your iPad. It's all just an overuse, and massage therapists overuse. So no need to look down at your work. When you know where your hands are, what muscles there are, where the bony landmarks are, then you don't have to look at your work, and you can have a nice straight spine. Now, one of the things that newer massage therapists do, and I really dislike when it happens to me, is they end up shortening the move. See what I'm doing right there? So many of you might have learned in massage school that this is like a back integration move, and you're coming right off here and coming down. I hate that, and the reason I hate that is because right here is that 12th rib, that kidney area, that 12th rib. And so people won't say anything, but that is not quite as nice as going all the way to that iliac crest. You really want to feel that iliac crest. So it's kind of right on the top of their hip. And then you want to go down. You're going to touch just the slightest bit of their glute medius. And you really, that whole move, you want to feel that posterior iliac crest. And then you just have just a little bit more to work with. It's so much nicer than cutting that move too short. Okay? And the other thing that I say when I teach is like, move around. Pretend massage is like Qigong or Aikido, and you're just wax on, wax off. You're moving. But see how slow I'm moving? There's no sense in muscling anything, because you might be able to work out that knot temporarily, but unless their brain can integrate what you're doing, it's not going to have a lasting effect. One of the ways that somebody actually changes their nervous system and integrates what you give them is if you go slow and steady so they can receive and integrate what you're doing in real time. If you go too fast, you can create a stress response, and that's not going to feel good long term. So if you're one of those massage therapists that feels like you're not doing enough, or somebody might be judging you because you cost a lot of money and you're not doing a whole lot, I promise you, nobody ever thinks that. All they think is that they want you to help fix their problems. And if you can do that, then they're going to come back again and again. They have little care of how you achieve that goal as long as it works for them. And as everything, I make everything feel complete. You want to make this whole back feel complete. Before moving on.